I'm going to explain, one of the interview FAQ. So what is the difference between a request and a hit, right? Or what is the difference between request per second and hits per second? All right, so let me go to the corresponding slide. So I covered this in client side metrics, as you can see here, right? So here you go. So request per second. So in this slide, I have explained like what is request per second, what is hits per second, and what is the difference. So let me explain with the with an example. All right. So first of all, so request per second is the number of requests made to the web server per second. Right. Now let us understand. And hits per second is the number of calls to the web server per second. Right. Now let me elaborate and let us understand what is this exact difference between request and a hit, or difference between request per second and hits per second. All right. So for that, like let me show you a typical web application architecture, 3-tier web application architecture. So whenever you make any request, whenever you type any URL, right, using any of the browser, right, so your request, that is, you are making a HTTP request to the web server, right? So your HTTP request will go fast to the web server and you receive a response from the web server, right? So typically you are making a HTTP request to the web server. All right. So let me show you, now the difference between request and a hit and with the help of an example, right? So let me open an incognito browser. All right. I am sending a request to Apple this website apple.com, right? So basically, I'm sending a HTTP request to the Apple's web server, right? And here is the response that I received from the server, right? Now let me show you what is the what exactly are hits per second, what are exactly are the calls to the web server. So let me launch developer tools by clicking F12, right? So once you launch developer tools, let me resend the request. So I am making a HTTP request to this website apple.com. All right. So I actually sent one request apple.com, right? But if you see here, so this is my actual HTTP request that was sent by any user, right? So, but if you see here, there are a lot of sub requests that are made to the, are lot of calls made to the web server for this particular single HTTP request. So say for example, like you have calls for JavaScript, there are sub requests for JavaScript, CSS files, and images, right? WAV files and SVGs, all right? And there are a lot of images on this page. So basically, like all the sub requests made to the made for the page components of the web page, right? So those are all considered as calls to the web server. Let me go back. So as you can see here, there are a total of 48 calls made to the web server for this single HTTP request apple.com, right? Right. So HTTP hits per second is the number of calls to the web server per second, right? And hope it is clear by this example. And if the question is like, what is the difference between requests per second and hits per second? Obviously, one HTTP request will have many calls or many sub requests, right? So hope I explained, hope it is clear what is the difference between request and a hit, or request per second and hits per second, right?